Hello and welcome to the Quebber channel. I am Jason, your host. I hope you're all having a splendiferous day. I hope you've all got a reason to smile. Let's talk about mental health in the UK and the support network there is out there. That's the social welfare, the NHS, the governmental, all that's supposed to be there for the people in society that need help. Those people that are either temporarily disabled or suffering with mental health or have issues and challenges, all the way up to people who are permanently in that situation. The stark truth is that the mental health side of the NHS and the mental health side of social care has been massively degraded over the last 30 years. We went through many different governments who tried different things. Care in the community, which basically was a keyword for, okay, let's shut down most of the psychiatric wards and put it all on social services and people looking after their crazy, weird, strange friends or whoever. The problem is this: no infrastructure was built. It was another cost-cutting measure. And that's the sad thing. Over the last 30 years, all these wonderful things like the Disabilities Act and that's supposed to mean that everybody provides stuff, is barely funded. And here's something to remember, that if you get diagnosed with autism, or if you get diagnosed with ADHD, bipolar, anything, the first thing the mental health care professional who diagnoses you at the local NHS thing will do is offer you some leaflets. And nearly every one of these leaflets will be a charity. You will find out very soon that the departments are so underfunded that they can only give short-term therapy, that they only can give... I had a senior psychologist who specialised in cancer trauma. And as a cancer patient, you're given access to this 2 sessions. That's it, just 2 sessions. That's all that the NHS can pay for. There's lots of use. Well, there used to be, I don't know if still, but in 2019 there was lots of little 6-month trials of different things. They'd fund a group of therapists. They'd fund a section of the things like steps and changes and take a breath and all different kinds of ideas to try. And at the end of those 6 months, they'd discontinue the funding. I had a wonderful social worker. She was a specialist social worker in 2019, and she took me out in her car and took me to the appointments, and that none of it really worked for me, but she took me there, she got me there, and she was a lovely person. But it was a 6-month trial and it was discontinued again. The entire of the system is broke. They've got no money. And next year, 2026, they're going to reduce the portion of the NHS budget that goes for mental health. Every single council in the UK is running over budget. And guess where the cost cutting comes? They all have wonderful plans to help disabled people. The people on the ground floor actually want to help you. But it's like at the beginning of last year, when I got the disability scooter, I contacted social services. They put me through to the people that deal with this kind of thing, and they said, yep, what we'll do is we'll widen your front gate so you can get out easier. We'll do that. And at that point in time, we'll actually try to get the disability spaces on your street repainted, because I had mentioned that they hadn't been repainted in like 6 years. And so they had faded almost completely, and nobody knew where the disability spaces that were supposed to be set up. Pardon me. They still haven't repainted the disability. Think about it. They don't have the money just to get the specialist paint, send out a crew one day and do that. I'm still waiting for my front gate to be widened. Scratches and marks on my disability scooter and the canopy are a testament to how hard it is to get out of that opening with the space I have. It isn't that they don't want to help, they just do not have the money. And if they don't have the money for those little things, what else don't they have the money for? Well, we know that they don't have the money for the safeguarding. We don't have the money to finance adult care. And they rely on the charities. And the problem is this. In 2019, most of the charities to do with mental health were running at capacity. 120%, most of them would say, we can see you in a month, a week. We might be able to see you in 6 months, depending on the situation. Then we had a certain virus come through the world, and people's mental health dropped through the floor. Masses, millions upon millions of people all around the world were brought face to face with the fact that their world wasn't as stable, wasn't as safe as they thought, that people died, that disasters could happen. Can you remember when we all stopped hugging? Can you remember when we were locked into our houses? Can you remember when you could only buy 100 items in your food shop? When we went from having like 30 different types of baked beans that you could choose from to 1 or 2. When the prices started to rise, and they've still risen. Now, think about all that, not just the fact that a lot more people would be accessing the mental health services because of what happened during that time. The government likes to tell you that, it's nothing to do with that. People are conning us, people are trying to get on disability and blah, 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 blah. It's all bullshit. Our entire world went through a social, economic change unlike anything since World War II. We'd had so many good years of safe and cuddly and consumerism and buying anything you want, and it only took a tiny virus to massacre the entire system. All of our butter mountains in the EU and all our food thingies were gone. The price of everything started to raise, and it's still raising now. Cost of living is still a massive thing. And people are trying to be told that it's just because of shirkers. No. You ask any psychologist, any therapist, the way the world's changed since then. An entire added level of trauma, an entire worldwide level of unsafe feelings. the world of 2019 and the world after the COVID pandemic was very different. And so all of these charities that used to be at 120% are now nearing 300 to 500% of capacity. And all the charities have seen a massive reduction in donations because of the cost of living. Right from the very bottom of the support structure for disabled people, of all kinds of disabled, from blindness, deafness, from people in wheelchairs, people in mobility, from all the different types of mental health challenges, are now at rock bottom for support. I wonder whether if someone like me came along this year and didn't have the wonderful support I had in 2019 to get over what was going on, whether or not I'd still be here. Because there definitely wouldn't have been those 5 mental health professionals trying to help me. There definitely wouldn't have been the contact by the thingy. Everywhere's overloaded. Even Samaritans is completely overloaded and underfunded. Do you know, in 2019, at my worst, I realised something about Samaritans that I didn't know. That if they think you're in a really bad place, they can ask your permission to call you back in a week. They're basically checking up on you to make sure you're still there. And I agreed to that so they could call me back and check on me, because they were very worried about my situation and what I had flagged lots of things that were like, yeah, this is not good. And so they asked me if it was okay for them bringing me back. In 2019, Macmillan and a lot of other places could help you get your benefits sorted, help you to get on PIP. Because think about this, what people don't realise, this is another thing people don't realise, just because you've got debilitating cancer, even if you're half dead, you still have to fill out the forms and fight for disability. It's not automatically given to you. And so Macmillan and them always used, Macmillan and all the other charities to do with mental health used to actually provide advisors who will, and they were amazing, who will help you not only to fill in the PIP forms, but to help you with the appeal. I remember that was one of the people who, when I applied for personal independence payment, every week someone from Douglas Mac would ring me up and say, have they denied it yet? Just let us know as soon as they have denied it so that we can start the appeal. It was so common for it to be denied for cancer sufferers that if they had that system in place, last month they had to stop that. They don't have the funding. The level of donation has gone down so low that they can no longer help people with their benefits. Yeah. The mental health side needs massive, massive investment from government, not cuts. The people are hanging on. And when these new cuts do come in, sadly, it's going to make everything so much worse, and people will die. People will fall through the cracks. The danger signs won't be picked up. The red flags won't be seen. There's a story on the news at the moment about how a deaf person, a TikToker, died, and the social welfare and that missed all the signs and didn't do the proper safeguarding. And I have to believe a lot of that is to do with funding, because the amount of people who can do sign language, who can actually be there. Imagine being a person who's dealing with mental issues, who's deaf. Imagine how terrifying it must be to go into a hospital knowing that you might not be able to communicate with anyone. That there won't be a BSL, British Sign Language, person there to help. So I hope that most of you never have to deal with the mental health system in the UK. It isn't that the people on the ground floor are bad. They're not. They're good. Sometimes they may not fit you. You might need someone different, but most of them are in there until they burn out, and they try to help in a system that is so defunded that their hands are tied. And I don't know. I don't really see a way to fix this without absolutely massive changes in the way we fund things. We do need to tax the rich. We do need to stop the rich companies taking their money outside the UK. There needs to be an exit tax if they want to shift funds that were created by the UK people, that were created by all of us from the UK to a different country to stop paying tax. There needs to be a calculated exit tax where they calculate how much percentage of that money came from profits made because you were in the UK. So the money goes back into the country. Cuts to the poorest part of the UK populace not only don't bring much in, but they will cause suffering like you've never seen. Anyway, it's a bit of a downer. I'm going to do another one after this. But I wanted to get that out of my head. So, bye-bye for now. Take care of yourself, everyone.